I wrote a poem about a fling, and at this point, until you read the book, all I can tell you is that it shows mercy only in its depart. You know, I refer you back to my book once you invest in it, but I can tell you the very first one. I had to write this book because I was trying to survive, find my purpose again after a very, very disappointing and heartbreaking breakup with the son of a very famous fashion designer. I knew I was out of my element, but after an informal proposal of marriage from the gentleman, it came too little too late. At that time, I was in my first year of CUNY School of Law at Queens College, and I could hardly concentrate on my studies because of my disappointment. I managed to pass my classes, but I caught the flu for 2 weeks, and my professor, who is a lawyer, excused me from homework for 2 weeks, and I started journaling like Oprah Winfrey had advised people at that time in her early years of her show. And while I was journaling, all of a sudden, I heard the voice of God telling me to type as He dictates. And the next thing I know, in 2 weeks, I really had 2 books. I had One Fling Too Many, and I had Love in Many Ways, Poems About Love. Then I heard the voice of God again tell me, put the books away and don't take them out again until I tell you. Fast forward 36 years to December 2017, and the Lord told me, take the books out. And then I submitted them to another publisher, and that publisher kept my book for 1.5 years, both of them, and then said, well, I want to publish the poems, but not the rest of the book. And I said, no deal. In response to receiving a link from my spiritual nephew, Denzel Hassel, who lives in London, England, in Great Britain. And I submitted it to a publisher, and that publisher is Amazon, KDP. And Amazon, as soon as we uploaded the cover, 1 hour later, I get this email, congratulations, we are publishing your book. And that night, it was on in the Kindle store, ebooks, electronic books, and the very next day, paperbacks were being printed of my book. I want them to understand that in this life, the greatest thing that we could ever do is to experience agape love, which is a synthesis of 4 different types of loves. And that one of the most core factors when it comes to agape love is the love between a man and a woman. And that love is marital love. Marital love depends upon love, trust, and commitment. Now, the other part of it is that casual sex is a road to nowhere. And that is why I do a philosophical analysis of flings. And I wrote the poem, Fling. What is a fling? And I wrote this book because I wanted to put in writing what I had wished someone had told me before I went to college. I had a very good foundation in sex education, largely because of my dear mother, the Reverend Author Wyatt, licensed master social worker, school social work specialist, who is now at the tender age of 96 and a half. She bought me my first book about birds and bees when I was 7 years old. And then, when I was 12 going on 13, when she was shopping in Barnes & Noble for her college books, we went in the human psychology section and I saw a book called Encyclopedia of Love and Sex. I said, Mom, may I see that book? She took it down, she previewed it, and she said, you want this? I said, yes, I do. She says, it's yours. I started out with an image that the Lord had revealed to me of a heart with a holy cross piercing the middle of the heart. I had my spiritual nephew, Denzel Hassel, design that, but his design, as beautiful as it was, did not match with the template on the program that I had to use to submit to the publisher. Now, so my other spiritual nephew, who became my editorial consultant, Nicholas Keenan Riley, he, who is a bit more computer savvy than I am, helped me get through the ins and outs of submitting my manuscript. And what happened was when we got to the template where you could design your own cover, he says, you know what? I think we need flowers. And I said, I would love to have flowers on my cover. So we looked on the program and shopped around for beautiful flowers. and we found azaleas, pink azaleas. And so we said, we're going to do the azaleas. And then all of a sudden, Nicholas expanded the azaleas all over the cover. And then I said, that is so beautiful. And so we sent it to Amazon, and Amazon did the typesetting of the cover and everything. We sent in a photograph of me. And by then, though, when it was time for the biography section on the back and describing the origins of the book and everything to be written, my eyes were so full of tears and I was so tired until I couldn't see the computer. So my editorial assistant, Nicholas Keenan Riley, had to type that part for me. And then we sent it in, and 1 hour later, we got the affirmative decision by Amazon to publish the book. The Lord laid it on my heart many years ago that it would be a wonderful dream if someday I went into publishing, and the future has to unfold based upon God's providence and His will, that maybe someday I would head a publishing house. I am so grateful to Amazon to facilitate the process of self-publication, because there are so many meaningful and socially and spiritually and scripts and works out there that don't get read, that you never hear about, because it's so difficult to get a book on the market. And with Amazon, Amazon has very high standards, but they give you a chance. And it has been a very educational experience. Love in View by T.O. Wyatt. You saw me as I saw you, through the image of our souls as we love. I saw you as you see me, full of strength for the life that we love. All see me as most see me, never blending with the scheme of their view. All see you as most see you, ever trapped beneath the confines of our view. Well, the book is available in two formats: paperback and ebook. The ebook is in the Kindle store, and it is $9.99 unless you take an unlimited Kindle membership. It's called Kindle Unlimited, and then you can get it for free. The other possibility is to get the paperback, which you see right here. And the paperback is available on Amazon.com and Amazon Prime. For a $50 donation to the church that I founded on April 20th, 2013, which is called the Churchill Baptist Church of Christ Incorporated. I will then sell you through the church a copy of my book, and I will put a highly personalized autograph in the book, and I will pour out my heartfelt expressions of gratitude and encouragement for you as well. The Reverend Anna Nell Wyatt, licensed master social worker, school social work specialist. She is phenomenal. She is a National Baptist Convention of the USA Incorporated music legend. And when she got her award, she got it the same year as Clay Evans, who walked with Dr. King. She is a Ruby Leader Award winner of the New York City chapter of the National Association of Social Workers. She is one of the founders of Community School 200, the James McCune Smith School here in Harlem. She is one of the founders of the old IS-10 Manhattan, which is now Frederick Douglass Academy Specialized High School. She is the only remaining living founder of the 98 apartment affordable house, Churchill House of Harlem, which is now owned by Churchill House LP, of which I am president. She has been a married woman and is now widowed. She was married for 25 years. Her beloved husband, my late father, the Reverend John Willie Wyatt, he took his last breath in her very arms. She's lived a phenomenal life. The youngest child, the youngest daughter of a family of 21 children. She originates from Branchville, South Carolina in Orangeburg County. She migrated to New York circa 1945, and she is one of the pillars of the Harlem community. And I am so proud to present her to the world. I was her last chance at pregnancy. I was the fourth pregnancy and the only one to survive. So here she is. My mom, Anna Nell.
Miss Anna Nell, how welcome. Talk a little bit about your daughter and this book that she's created.
Thank you. And thanks for the time now that I'm able to speak. As I listen to my daughter, I was saying, thank you, Lord, for my daughter. It was the Lord that gave me this daughter because I lost. They had to take the one before her from me to save my life. Otherwise, I would have died in childbirth. I saw the baby with a scar because they said they couldn't get my blood pressure down. But when a special doctor, I thank the Lord for the special people I'm looking at right now. But there was a special doctor that came into my life, and he said he had research about me and found out that I had the same something that that's caused my mother to die in childbirth, and that I should not have children because I would die also in childbirth. But after he searched South Carolina, where I came from, and found out about me and my siblings, and then he says later, asked me, you still want a child? I said, yes, I do, because my husband loved children as my husband has to hold everybody's baby, and I want to give him a baby. He said, let's get pregnant. And so he allowed me to get pregnant. And when I got pregnant, one gift to me, you know, you can't get pregnant for every man, but for my husband I could. When I told him that I want to have a baby, we got a baby. And that was Theresa. When I had Theresa, I had just prayed, went to the company and put my hand in the well and prayed for a baby, and the baby was Theresa. When I got pregnant with Theresa, I was admitted to the hospital, and they kept me there. When she was born, they kept us in the hospital until she was well developed. But she was born a talented person, a fever that went up, and we both kept getting some type of medical needs. And when she told me that when she saw her father. She was the only, as they say, Negro baby in the incubator. Um, it was all white, and she was also a light-skinned, good-looking baby. And we took the baby home, even though there were many women in those days would try to take your husband. We brought her home, and she was, I noticed that she was talented. The neighborhood in Harlem, where we live, said they heard about a baby that could count to 10 before, and she's not able to talk yet because they saw me with the baby going up and down to the paper store. And I said, this is the baby. And they wanted to hear her mumble of, oh. And before she was able to speak, she was able to count to 10. You know, it's true that this house has quite a legacy, and I thank my mother for founding it and all. And you know, it it was an education for me, and that's why I spent some years in real estate because of the history of my mother and the house and Churchill and all of that. But I think that before we finish, I need to explain that sometimes periods of chastity and abstinence are necessary before you find your soulmate. I actually lived a life of abstinence and, well, some may call it chastity, for about 36 years after my last gentleman caller. And I did so until the Lord united me with His choice for my future husband, who I promised to marry. The marriage unit is really the fabric of society, in my humble opinion. And this book is really my manifesto when it comes to a warning, particularly to young people coming out of high school, going into college, that those years are the prime years for finding your soulmate. If you miss that opportunity, you have to pray by the grace of God to get another one. And casual sex is a road to nowhere. And this book explores how the whole mystery and romance of flings is a lie. It's a bold-faced lie. And if it'll help one person, then my time